Plagued by the Watergate scandal, President Richard Nixon appointed Gerald Ford, only a Michigan representative at the time, as the new vice president after Spiro Agnew resigned under allegations of income tax evasions and bribery. Nixon resigned just 2 months later, leaving Ford in the new role of President of the United States. Thrust into a position that neither he nor the nation was prepared for him to have, newly sworn-in President Gerald Ford immediately faced major political issues. From dealing with the fallout from the Watergate scandal, to attempting to cope with the high rate of inflation inherited from the Nixon administration, along with several ill-fated decisions on Ford's part, pardoning Nixon in 1974, an amnesty program for deserters and people who avoided the draft in the Vietnam War, and a hostage rescue gone wrong in 1975, resulting in the loss of 41 American lives, firmly seared a negative view of Ford into the minds of many of the American people. Despite these issues, Ford pressed on with his duties as president. Ford tried his best to do what he thought was right, but most of these decisions turned sour in the minds of the American public. On September 5, 1975, President Ford was visiting Sacramento, headed towards a meeting at the state capitol with Governor Jerry Brown. A small crowd had gathered at Capitol Park, wishing to shake hands with the president. Always the amiable one, he complied, until one hand was held out to him that wasn't so friendly, holding a gun. Lynette Squeaky Fromm, an avid follower of Charles Manson and prominent member of the Manson family, took aim at the president and fired. Secret Service agents quickly tackled her to the ground while she bemoaned, "It didn't go off. Can you believe it? It didn't go off." The gun had not gone off due to her failure to pull back the slide to insert a cartridge into the chamber of her pistol. Secret Service agents half-dragged the president away from Fromm and towards safety until Ford yelled in protest, "Put me down! Put me down!" Finally released, he turned and continued his walk on his own towards the California State House, entered and met with the governor as planned, without even mentioning the assassination attempt until after they were done discussing business. Ford later indicated that he was not scared by the life-threatening event, and when questioned why he continued despite the dramatic attempt on his life, he answered, "I thought I'd better get on with my day's schedule." Just 17 days after Fromm's assassination attempt, danger struck again, this time in the form of Sarah Jane Moore. A housewife and mother of four turned radical leftist activist, Moore strongly disagreed with the actions of President Gerald Ford and believed, along with others, that the president should be elected, not appointed. Moore waited for 3 hours outside the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco, waiting for Ford to appear, and fired a .38 caliber bullet at the president. Her shot narrowly missed him by inches. As she went to fire again, Oliver Sipple, a Vietnam veteran standing nearby, dove at her, grabbing her arm and pulling her to the ground. The bullet ricocheted and hit a taxi driver standing nearby. Moore hoped that her drastic actions would spark a revolution. She was the first woman to ever fire a shot at a U.S. president. Despite yet another attempt on his life and being the first president to have survived 2 separate assassination attempts, Ford pressed on. When asked why he continued to make public appearances, he answered matter-of-factly, "A president has to be aggressive, has to meet the people." President Gerald Ford, despite all that was thrown at him, continued to push forward, undiscouraged and unafraid. So what do we do when hardship, when tragedy, when terror threatens to overcome us? Do we back down? Do we step back and cower, resigning to nothing but keeping our own selves safe? Or do we press forward and continue on, knowing that evil exists and that the world is a dangerous place, but that we shall overcome it? There is hope in the world. We will not back down.